Hello everybody, I'm Michael Hogan. I'm Jason Hogan's father. And for those of you who've taken an opportunity to watch this, you're watching this because you are a potential supporter of Jason Hogan. And that's really important. Jason is a young man who is still looking for an opportunity to show that he deserves another chance, another look, another opportunity to show that he is innocent, that he deserves a second chance, that he deserves an opportunity for freedom. Now, I'm not going to sit here as his father and tell you that Jason has been the perfect young man growing up. That would be a lie. But I'm going to tell you that there's some things in life that's worth a second shot. There are some things in life that's worth a second opportunity. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, Jason, he was born in 1979 while he was active duty military. I was stationed at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Dayton, Ohio. Wonderful kid. Grew up, smiles for miles and miles, I'll tell you. Happy child. Jason grew up like a lot of kids do in America. It's like his brother came along in 1981, a couple years later. And I had been stationed at Elmendorf Air Force Base at that time during the Iranian hostage crisis. Shortly after that, a few years later, I had exited the Air Force and continued to live in Alaska. Unfortunately, his mother and I got a divorce. Well, as things happen, parents move on and children are supposed to adapt. Some do, some don't. Jason seemed to do all right. So he moved with his mother and brother back to Colorado. I stayed in Alaska. That's where my job was. That's where my work was. And a couple years later, I had remarried a very wonderful woman. She had 3 children. We had a blended family. And in 1991, when the opportunity arose, I moved the family to California, so that we could be closer together as a family, because Alaska was a very challenging location for us to live. The same year, the yours, mine, and ours family became one, and we had another addition to the family with Elise, and we had 6 kids, 3 from my wife's previous marriage, 2 from my previous marriage, and 1 together. We made it work as best as we possibly could. Jason, he was always the funny one in the family. Always had a great sense of humor. But I was always worried about Jason. It's like he was always the one that I always felt was going to come live with us and he would always be the one that would be there during his or while growing up. That didn't work out. Do you know what? He went through some tough times, and he did some things that he shouldn't have done, and he ended up dealing with those as he grew up. Jason ended up getting involved in the wrong situation at the wrong time, and as a result of that, paid a price that cost him time in a federal penitentiary. Now, an interesting thing about Jason, when he went into the penitentiary, he was very angry, and he was very different. And his inner soul was damaged. And I know this because I was really close to him as his father. Him and I touched each other on a level, as father and son, that a lot of people may not have understood because of the love bond that we had. It crushed me to see the trouble that he was in. The fact that there was a second charges that were brought up against him through the state brought me to my knees and rocked me to my core. I just couldn't understand what was going on. But he always claimed he was innocent of that. He confessed to what went on at the federal level, but he always claimed innocence at the state level. As Jason's journey began through the federal system, I watched a growth take place in him. Changes. A rebirth. And this is really important for those of you who decide to support him. That you need to understand that it'll be worth it. Spiritual level inside Jason is just phenomenal. Spiritual level inside of Jason touches me personally in a way that has given me hope through dark and trying times in my life. And the dark and trying times in my life are not as a result of what's happened to him, although they're not as a result of what's happened I guess I could say what's happened to him for part of the things, but our family had experienced many tragedies, somewhat starting with his, and the spiritual growth that he had and the path that he went on and the process that he went through taught me how to cope with what I needed to cope with. You see, in the beginning, I had to teach him how to go from being a child to a man. But ironically, Jason taught me how to cope with being a broken soul. And I believe that Jason can teach other broken souls how to heal. He's gifted. He's blessed. He's patient, he's kind, he's loving. And he's not who went into the prison system in 2000. And it would be unconscionable to believe that as religious as he has become, and as spiritual and as divine as he has spoken, that he is anything but what he says he is. And I honestly hope that those of you who watch this reach into your hearts, reach into your soul of souls, and help Jason get out of the prison system and help him get another trial and get out of jail. Society needs him on the outside. Thank you for your time.